Hey guys, in this video right here, we're going to talk about how, call them parents, call them seniors, call them grandparents, what they do to protect their estate from themselves. Let me give you a little introduction here. Many people, most couples want to stay in complete control of what they have for the rest of their lifetime. Their thinking is, we earned it, we saved it, we want to stay in control, while other people, believe it or not, for reasons that we'll discuss here, want to give up control over what they have. So let me give you an example. Let's say Darren and May, they're 75 years old, they've one marriage, they've been married forever, and they have 3 kids, and we'll get back to the kids in a minute. But the traditional thinking of a Darren and may be, you know what, we've worked for what we have our house, we have our savings, we saved, we want to stay in control, we don't want to give up any control, and also when one of us dies, we want the survivor of us to stay in control. It's what we worked so hard for. Then yes, certainly after we both pass away, let the kids have it, we'll be gone, we can't take it with us. So that's the traditional thinking. Although new thinking from some married couples, not all by any stretch, but some who are, getting up there, 75, 80 years old, they'll tell me something like, well, you know what, Paul, while both of us are alive and we have our right mind, we want to stay in control. We've worked together for the last 50 years, 60 years. We're going to make sure we don't do anything silly. We want to stay in control. However, Paul, one of our goals is after one of us passes away, we want to make sure that the survivor of us, and I'll use a strong word here, we want to make sure that the survivor of us doesn't do anything stupid. Or in other words, they're saying we want to make sure that when one of us goes, the survivor of us is protected from themselves. So what they're saying is we're okay while we're both alive, but when one of us dies, we want to make sure that the survivor of us doesn't get adversely influenced by some new friend or some new acquaintance. We want to make sure after one of us dies that one of our 3 children who's kind of greedy and is kind of pushy to us doesn't influence us into doing something that is not consistent with our objectives that we have right now while our mind is good. They're also saying we want to make sure that after one of us dies, the survivor of us isn't subject to some criminal activity or fraud. There's a ton of that among seniors these days. And maybe even they're saying after one of us goes, we don't want the survivor of us to mismanage everything. We don't want the survivor of us to sell our $1 million piece of property for $550,000. So, and so the deal is under the traditional way where one of them goes and everything's under the control of the surviving spouse, you can't necessarily prevent that survivor from doing something stupid or, again, strong word, but quite frankly, that's what we're talking about here. So the alternative is many couples will create, let's call it a family trust. And they set up a trust, they transfer assets to their trust. The couple, Darren and May, they are the co-trustees as long as they're both alive and able, and they can look after each other. They're not going to make any mistakes, at least they feel like they're not to. However, that trust instrument that gets prepared by the lawyer would say something like, when one of them dies, instead of the traditional being the surviving spouse is the sole trustee, it may say that responsible child of Darren and May, let's say they selected their son Christopher. Then after Darren dies, for example, then surviving wife May and Christopher are the co-trustees of that trust, and either state trust law or it's written into the trust instrument. It takes both co-trustees to get anything done or to act in their capacity as trustee or co-trustees. So when it's set up like that, and then of course it's set up so that after May passes away, then everything goes to the 3 children equally. But with that child as a co-trustee with the surviving spouse, now May is really protected from herself. May can't by herself, she can't go sell trust assets without Christopher's participation. She can't give away trust assets to some new friend or acquaintance without Chris's participation. Or maybe she can't do it at all. And May can't be adversely influenced to do something without Christopher's participation. And maybe even Darren and May want to set it up from the outset so that after one of them dies, May can't even change the ultimate disposition to the 3 children equally. Maybe they wanted to set it up because that's been their objective for 60 years, is to make sure things go to the 3 children equally. And so maybe they want to set things up to protect the 3 children from the survivor being influenced into altering that ultimate, disposition after they both pass away. So, not every family does this, but maybe, oh man, and this is just I was gonna say a wild ass guess, but I'll say it. Maybe out of 20 couples that come in their 70s and 80s, maybe 1 or 2, that's a very valid concern for them, and it's one that they really express and they feel very strong about it. So then we have to address it that way. It gives that couple more assurance and more peace of mind that what they've worked for is going to stay in the family. It's going to stay in the bloodlines, and all those stories that you hear about are less likely to happen when you have that responsible child very involved in the handling of the estate after the first spouse dies, particularly when you have an elderly couple and that surviving spouse may be subject to some cognitive impairment, dementia, Alzheimer's. Maybe the surviving parent is not one who has handled financial transactions, legal transactions, property transactions over the years, and it really is in the best interest of both the surviving spouse and the children to bring in a new trustee or co-trustee of a trust after the first spouse passes away. That's just one of many examples, but it should start to give you an idea of, hey, we've got some options here to make sure our big time goals are met. Okay, I'm Paul Rabelais. Make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That'll tell YouTube to show more of Paul's videos to more people. We'll see you next time.